Hello, hello. We are just waiting for Susie to join. I think we've had a little bit of a link issue. Hopefully that will be fixed in a moment. You gotta love technical issues. Okay, I will send her a link. She's having trouble getting in. That's cool. We love that.
There we go.
Oh, hello. Gotta love technical issues. I'm sorry about that. That was entirely my fault. I don't know why yet, but I'll figure out how to blame myself.
That's all right. Could entirely be me as well.
Let's say we're here now and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're wonderful because you've agreed to come on and talk to us about nutrition and
Nutritional,
health,
that's
mental health, all of that stuff.
And you're
What an
wonderful
intro.
for asking me. There you go.
I'll introduce you a little bit first, just so the people who haven't had the pleasure yet will know what we're talking about. I have some questions that people have pre-submitted, and if anybody has any other questions, please just drop them in the chat, and we can see how many we can get through. We've got half an hour, so
Yep.
we'll see how we go. So, and also, I haven't run this intro by you, so hopefully it pleases you, Susie. Yeah. Susie Allen is a Brisbane-based clinical nutritionist who helps women feel steady, nourished, and clear-headed during times of high stress, including separation and divorce. She understands how emotional upheaval can show up in the body as poor sleep, sugar cravings, hormone swings, and exhaustion. And she works with women to restore balance through practical, personalised nutrition strategies. Drawing on both clinical training and lived experience with metabolic and hormonal challenges, Susie supports women to regulate their nervous systems, stabilise energy, and rebuild confidence in their bodies. And as she has her own experience of divorce and single parenting to draw on, she also has a wealth of knowledge and experience in that department. And we're very lucky to have her here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Well, if you send me that bio, I'll use it elsewhere. I really liked it. Thanks very much.
Sure. You know I do that. All right, we'll jump straight into some questions, and I love this one first up. This is I won't use people's names. I'll just tell you what they asked.
Sure.
I need to ask something that feels a bit embarrassing. Gotta love a start like that, right?
Yep. Is it poo?
I used to be sharp and on top of everything. Now I walk into a room and forget why I'm there. I reread emails a bunch of times. I lose words mid-sentence. I've missed a few bills because I just forgot. I feel foggy and overwhelmed all the time, like my brain isn't working properly. I'm 47, I'm not sleeping well, my nervous system feels constantly on edge. How do I know if this is stress from the divorce, perimenopause, burnout, or something else? And what do I do about it? That's a small question for you.
Oh, I know. All right, that'll take half an hour by itself. So yeah, I mean, it's probably a combination of all kinds of things. So when we look at even just stress, it depletes our mineral reserve, our nutrient reserves, things like magnesium that are going to help calm us. We just burn through it. Likewise, B vitamins that we need for brain energy, that we need for executive function to be able to be making these decisions. Vitamin C, which gets rid of some of the toxins in our brain. And if there's too much of a buildup of that, it can cause this brain fog. And then obviously we've got a potential perimenopause thing in here as well at that time, declining estrogen. Well, it's declining, generally, but it's kind of fluctuating madly as we go along. But yeah, so there are lots of things there. So you might not know or be able to pinpoint or diagnose one particular thing, but getting some of those nutritional basics in place and knowing what is depleting you, and then you kind of see what's left afterwards. Also, our brains need energy. So, our brains run on glucose. What I find with a lot of women around this age is they're not actually eating enough food. Carbs have been demonized, and they shouldn't be. So, so there are a lot of things that are potentially in play there. Are you getting enough fuel as a baseline, and then enough fuel for the fact that you're in a very stressed state as well?
So this is not a time to, try to fit into that tiny pair of jeans, or this is a time to feed yourself and nourish yourself.
Nourish, 100%. Yep.
So, and just a sort of, I guess, a question about that. Where would you start with all of that? Obviously, it's a heady cocktail of, life stage and experience and the physicality and the stress and everything. And as you said, there are things that you would look at, like magnesium, vitamin C.
Yep.
So you'd start that first. Would you get supplements first, or what would you do?
I would start with the basic nutrition stuff, hydration. So these are my little neurons. I'm obsessed with the brain. Our serotonin, our happy hormone, our dopamine that gives us that kind of reward, motivation, all of that. They all run on this kind of network through our body. And if that network is dry, it's dehydrated, that can't work. So that's, very basic thing. And we're looking at, most adults will be at least 2 liters per day that they need just to survive properly. When we're dehydrated, our brains just can't work properly. So I'd start with that. It's free. Go do it today. If you
And
find,
it's so basic. I think a lot of people gloss over it, but it's so important, right?
yeah, 100%. And if you say like, oh, Susie, I can't, have 2.5, 3 liters a day, I'm just going to be weaning all day. That in itself is a sign of dehydration. It means your cells can't actually take that water in. So what we want to do is open the channels in there. So literally just to one of your bottles per day, add half a teaspoon of a good quality salt. So not table salt, so any rock salt, something like that. And that will help to open those channels up. Takes about 3 weeks to really develop that thirst signal so that you're not forcing yourself to do it anymore. And then your cells will kind of just take that in. So I'd start there. And then if we can, start with breakfast. So it's something that's often skipped. We need fuel. If somebody is getting cravings in the afternoon, if they're not sleeping in the evening, if they're not sleeping through the night, I'm always coming back 2 or 3 meals prior to that and asking what happened.
That's
So
interesting. Yeah, right. Okay.
yeah, so by having kind of protein focused breakfast in the morning, it and having a breakfast does 2 things. So there's a lot of things, but 2 main things for this kind of cohort. So it sends a safety signal. So I talk a lot with my patients around safety, and our body needs to feel safe. So one of the ways that we can do that, especially women, especially this 47-year-old lady who's at that stage of life where we don't want to be putting any more strain on the body. We want, when we wake up, our body to know there is food coming in and it not to have to worry about that. So it sends a
Yeah.
huge safety signal. Also, what it does is it starts the cascade of getting your melatonin kind of reduced so that you can wake up and do the day thing. And then it will start to build again during the day. So protein is the building block for everything. We often think about it and we're sold, many perimenopause, you need it for your muscles. Yes, we do. But we need it to build hormones. We need it to
Mm.
build neurotransmitters like serotonin. So that's where it all starts. So I'd start with those two things. And then we would look at supplements. So a lot of supplements they can just help get you over that bridge and help give you enough mental capacity to be able to make other changes.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you. Um, Now, on the flip side of that, I'm going to jump to the next question, which is we sort of touched on this, but I keep seeing the whole divorce glow up thing. Meanwhile, I've felt like the opposite. I've put on weight, my skin's off, I'm not sleeping well, I just feel worn out. I don't need a revenge body, I just want to feel good in myself again. Is this stress, hormones, lack of sleep? How do I start turning it around when I'm already exhausted?
When you're already go back to what I was saying with the last one as well.
Yeah.
Really, we need the basics. We need fuel. We need hydration. And that doesn't have to look insta perfect. It doesn't have to look like anything like that. It can just be yogurt and fruit in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it can be, beans on toast. Fed is better than not fed.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, I should do that, shouldn't I?
You should do that. Just give you an idea for your socials for next week.
Oh, I
Um,
know.
it's interesting too. I think from a non-nutritional point of view, I would say it's easy. We all know this in theory, but it's good to remind yourself that social media is everyone's highlight reel, and that's not real. And just because you're seeing all these people with revenge bodies doesn't mean that that's actually what's happening out there. People are
Mhm.
going through all sorts of things, and you don't see the hard stuff. So take it all with a grain of salt.
And
And you know,
often the revenge body is actually somebody who hasn't been able to eat because they're so stressed. They may look tiny, but what's actually going on inside them, how if they're not fueling what's happening with their mental health, their gut.
also, I would say they're still worrying what other people think of them instead of, taking care of themselves and
Yeah.
just getting over it. Right? And I don't say get over it in a flippant way. I mean, focusing on the things they need to do to truly get over it, not show the world that they're getting over it. They're just trying to prove
100%.
something rather than, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's important to keep in
And
mind too. Like
healing,
true recovery doesn't look like that.
no, and it's not linear.
Mm,
And mental, physical recovery, all of that. And the whole thing going through a breakup, as we know, it can take 5 to 7 years to actually split. During that whole time there's stress, there's grief, there is all of these things that take a toll on the body,
yeah.
plus then the actual split and trying to sort out all your shit after
Yeah.
that. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So grace, we really need to give ourselves a bit of grace here. It's easier said
Yeah.
than done, I know, but
Yeah. But yeah. And just taking care of yourself like you take care of someone that you love. Yeah.
yeah.
And what would we do? We'd give it like bring around like nutritious food and like, wrap them in a
Do.
blanket and watch Netflix, or is that just me?
Yeah, no, no.
um, this is short and sharp, but I think we get to the point pretty quickly. Is there an actual nutritional explanation for why toast feels like an emotional support right now? Or is that just me? And how much is too much when it comes to carbs? So I know you touched on carbs, that carbs are not evil, but if you're like craving carbs and, finding comfort in carbs, is that a problem?
No. But half a loaf of bread probably is. Um, so yeah, toast is comforting because like, I don't know your history. It could be for so many reasons. It could be something that you ate as a kid, and you get that comfort from it. But like from a physiological perspective, like I was saying earlier, glucose, which is basically a sugar, which is, carbs break down into glucose, is fuel for the brain.
Yeah.
So when our brain wants a quick hit, it is looking for carbs. So your carb of choice might be bread. It
Mine's
might be
hot chips,
chocolate.
just if you're asking.
Yum. But
So
yeah,
carbs and fat.
yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah, I'd be at croissant, but there you go, carbs and fat
Oh,
too. Yeah, with a side of
so good.
chips.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
And
so
obviously you can't have croissants and hot chips for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
no. So what I would always say is try to balance it. So, what happens is if we're having too many carbs, and too many carbs might be 4 slices of toast, for example. But with those carbs, ideally, we want to be balancing them with a little bit of protein.
Mhm.
Because if we don't, what happens is we get this glucose spike and then we crash.
Yeah.
And it's when we crash that we feel all the emotions come rushing in. It messes with all the rest of our hormones. If our hormones are already in a state of flux, with perimenopause or anything like that, then it just kind of exacerbates. So have some beans on the toast, maybe. But also, sometimes you're just going to have the toast and have slatherings of beautiful, proper butter, no margarine, please, um, and just enjoy it. But there is definitely a physiological reason. Your brain feels like it's starving. It's not.
Mm.
When it feels like that,
Right.
it's telling you, sending you signals, um, give me carbs, give me sugar. But one thing I will say though, is one of the things online as well is like, oh my God, there was a glucose spike. That's what food does. It causes a
Right.
spike. It's
Yeah.
supposed to.
Because everyone's
That's
using those glucose monitors now to measure everything. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah,
I've wondered
yeah.
about that.
And they
Because you
can
know
be
I love a
really
health fad. I'm
useful.
really interested.
Oh yeah, I've done it myself. I love it. And pizza, and it was so devastating to me because it basically told me I could never eat pizza again. But then I took it off, and then I ate pizza again. So everything's fine.
Good. Good on
Yeah,
you.
I know.
You heard it here
Um,
first from the nutritionist. Eat pizza.
but yeah, so just
Sometimes.
beware of what you're hearing. Yeah, only sometimes. Beware of what you're hearing online. Kind of, oh my God, a glucose spike.
Yeah.
The glucose is supposed to go up and down. That's just how our bodies work.
Mm.
But if it's continually, being fed by just carbs and not a protein as with it, that helps to kind of modulate some of that response. Then we can end up in what's called insulin resistance, where our bodies, we just have too much kind of glucose in our bodies, and our
Mm.
cells are less likely to pull that glucose in for energy, which then causes us to want more because our cells feel like they're not getting the glucose. Um, yeah,
And that's bad. Yeah, we don't want that. Okay, I have two follow-up questions from that.
go.
One, I guess a question, I know that you said have it with protein, but how do you know if how much is too much? How would you know? Like, you said 4 pieces might be too much. Like, how do you know?
Yeah. Um, it's it's difficult to know because we're not going to go into the amount of carbs in a slice
Mm.
of toast because that
Yeah.
varies.
Can I offer a piece of just a piece of personal experience
Yeah.
from myself while you're thinking about that? And maybe there isn't a definitive answer, but something that I used to do, I think, because I have been through periods in my life, and I think potentially when I was going through divorce, I ate a lot of carbs. Um, I love rules. I'm not a good person with moderation. I'm like, if there's a rule in place, I will follow it.
Yeah.
So my rule was, if I'm going to have something like that, I will first have some veggies, or I will first have, something, some protein and stuff like that,
Yes.
so that when I have it, I'm having it and I enjoy it, but it's not the only thing I'm having.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely love that. Yeah, and that helps to kind of dampen down that glucose
yeah,
response as well. But
yeah,
it also gives you that, fiber and or protein first. That's going
yeah,
to mean you are less likely to binge
yeah. So that
in
half loaf
those
of bread is
carbs.
not, yeah. And the second follow-up question I have is carbs aren't all created equal, right? So if you had some advice about if someone has carb cravings, what are some better carbs to go for?
One of my favorite things is resistant starch. So, um,
Gosh, you're wild.
I know, I know, resistant starch and poo. Um,
Not together.
No, no. So, well, what we look for is basically carbs that are in kind of as close to nature form as possible and
Mm,
that aren't going to immediately break down into sugar. and then give us a crash afterwards. So we're looking at things like, sweet potato, absolutely beautiful, like say half a cup of uncooked oats are amazing.
We're
Different,
cooking them though, right? We're not eating half a cup of uncooked oats. We're just measuring them uncooked.
you're measuring them uncooked, but you can put them in overnight oats, even save yourself a
Yes.
cooking job.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
But not straight
things
out of the packet is what I meant.
not straight out of the packet, no, unless you're a bit weird, but each to their own.
Hey, no
Um,
judgment.
yeah, so resistant starch, what that is things like potato, rice, and pasta, which can be, some of those big bingy things.
Hmm.
Cooking them the day before. So I know that requires kind of thinking in
Oh,
advance, and that's an
yes.
extra step. But if you can, cook it the day before, cool it for at least 8 hours. It changes the chemical structure of the those carbs, and it turns it into less effectively calories for you and more energy and food for your microbiome.
I
So
love that. That's incredible.
it takes the actual amount of calories per carb down to about 30 to 40%. I think, oh, no, sorry, 25%. So it takes it down significantly. But it's
Hmm.
also then huge nourishment for your microbiome, which is going to help with the mental health side of things, help with your kind of your immune system, everything. So
I find that that's like one of the hottest, most exciting tips ever. I love that.
when I tell people to go eat potatoes, honestly, I am the most favorite nutritionist in the world. Potatoes and
You're
real
my
butter.
favorite nutritionist. Yeah. I also have recently started replacing my pasta with pulse pasta, which
Yum.
is excellent. I
Yeah.
thought it would be like, because I eat lentil pasta and I thought it would taste like lentils and it doesn't. So that's good.
No, so lentil pasta, chickpea pasta, um, so San Remo and I think Barilla have versions of that as well, which are literally
Mm,
just the pulse and water.
mm.
I think one of them has a little bit of salt in it, and they're absolutely brilliant. Even my 16-year-old eats them. Yeah,
Yeah, wow. If you can get it past a teenager, that's
yeah.
yeah, that's good.
So if you want, like a really, really simple protein meal, just like a few veggies and some oil and some of that pasta, and you're done. Cheap
I love
as.
that.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm.
Yeah. Throw in some chili and it's exciting.
Yeah.
I love that because that was our shortest question, but we have a lot to say about carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And we need,
Um,
but also mix the carbs up is one bit of advice I
oh,
would
yep.
give.
Okay.
Yeah. So we tend to just go for, like potatoes and wheat-based things.
Yep.
So, basically my carb rotation during the week is I'll have a little bit of wheat. I'm gluten intolerant, so I don't have that much of it. So I have a bit of that. I have a bit of rye, same gluten issue, but so not too much of that. Buckwheat, rice. So I mix them up because the different parts of our microbiomes or our gut-friendly bacteria that we want to be um, encouraging to build, they all prefer different types of um, carbs and different
Yeah.
types. So yeah, so like not don't overthink it. Just be just kind of conscious. Am I just eating the same carb all the time?
Yeah. So yeah, you don't need to get so excited that you have like buckwheat Thursday or anything. Just try to
No,
mix it up.
I mean I do,
So,
but
but you're a professional.
I am.
And I have one more follow up on that.
Yep.
Sorry, and then we'll move on. But you've mentioned the microbiome. Can you just
Yep.
very briefly touch on why that's important?
Yeah. So it's basically it's referred to as the second brain. So it is kind of like the control center. We literally have trillions of bacteria in our gut, which control our inflammation in our bodies. So one of the things, for example, with coming back to that brain fog question, that can
Mm,
be caused from inflammation.
mm,
So basically, if you whack your arm and you get a red kind of raised lump on there, you can see that's inflamed. The same thing happens inside our body, and it can happen through stress, through toxins, through everything, through
mm.
infection that can affect our brain as well. So the gut microbiome helps to kind of calm all of that down as well. It helps with the gut brain axis, some people might have heard of. It's a huge link. So all of the beneficial compounds that our happy bacteria create basically feed our brain, our neurotransmitters. We make around about 80 to 85% of our serotonin, so our happy hormone, in our gut. So if that's not working properly and you're feeling low, then it's, there's a direct link there. Even things like if the kind of gut lining, some people might have heard of leaky gut. So if there's anything going on in the gut it might not be necessarily microbiome related, but it might be just things are inflamed in there, or things are not quite the integrity that we want, then we might have a reduced capacity to break down and use the nutrients that we are getting. So, if somebody is having a beautiful diet and they still feel like shit, I'm going to be looking at their gut to go, are you actually able to use those nutrients that you're absorbing? Yeah. So,
Okay,
there's this
thank
old
you.
adage, we are what we eat. But I actually prefer we are what we absorb.
Less catchy, but still, I'm sure it'll get there.
Know,
Now, if you have time, we have two more questions. Is that
go for
okay?
it. Go for it.
Excellent. Okay, one is going back to sleep, which we touched on a little bit before. I haven't been sleeping well since my ex left 5 months ago. I've never lived alone before, and there's so much going on. I just lay at night staring at the ceiling, and it's gotten to the point I dread going to bed. I finally went to my GP recently, and she gave me some sleeping tablets. And yes, they knock me out, but the sleep doesn't feel deep. I wake up feeling groggy and tired.
Yeah.
I'd rather be getting proper natural sleep, not just being sedated, especially because I have two girls and I worry that if they need me during the night, I won't be able to wake up. But it feels like my nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, even on nights when nothing dramatic has happened. My brain is on high alert all the time. Are there things I can take or eat that will actually calm my brain down enough to sleep? I'm running on fumes and I worry about where this is all headed for my health.
Yeah,
So they're in a really tough spot there.
so tough. It really is. But yet, absolutely, there are things that you can do. So we're going to come back to protein again. Try not to eat past about 8 o'clock at night, ideally 7 o'clock. You want your body to be resting overnight and not to have to kind of use any of its resources that are already limited in having to kind of digest too much. So that's one thing that you can do. First thing in the morning, try to get some sunlight. So again, that getting that sunlight first thing in the morning sets off that hormone cascade so that your body knows, okay, it's daytime, it's time to be awake. And I mean daylight, or getting that sunlight with no sunnies on. So you want to actually get that sun in your eyes. So you're sending that message so that in 12 hours time, your melatonin, which is your sleepy hormone, is going to start to come up and get you ready for sleep. So there are a couple
And that doesn't need to be long, does it? First thing in the morning. That's
5, 10
just
minutes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yep. So just so if you can to do that, that's also a really good time to potentially do some breathing exercises as well. So our cortisol, our stress hormone, is naturally higher first thing in the morning. It's supposed to be just to wake us up, to get us going. So everything that we do first thing in the morning to kind of calm that response rather than just adding to it is going to help. So that's going to be your sunlight. It's going to be eating before coffee, maybe doing a couple of breathing exercises that time as well. And then at the other end of the night, there are definitely a few things that you can do. So in terms of supplementation, one of my favorite is L-theanine. So that basically, it's not a sedative. So I know that was obviously a concern, but it just stops the noise. I can't sleep without it personally because I'm a very noisy brain. So yeah, L-theanine, so about 200 milligrams of that, about an hour before bed. There are a couple of products that are practitioner ones that I get, but the L-theanine, anybody can kind of buy that in a pharmacy or health food shop.
Right. And so if they
Magnesium.
wanted to get that, oh, sorry, you're going to say some other ones. But I was going to say as well, if they wanted to go and see a nutritionist, or see you or see somebody else,
Yep.
are there certain other ones that you recommend they ask about?
Yeah, so there's one that I love called Sleepatonin. So it's basically a herbal kind of alternative to melatonin. So again, what that does is it just helps to wind the body down, taking an hour before food. So that's another one. There's another one that I love, which is a combination of magnesium, L-theanine, and a thing called glycine. So they are basically like just the trifecta to just calm everything down.
Okay, wonderful.
So yeah, there are a few things. Also, little food is medicine trick, because I love food is medicine. 2 kiwis an hour before bed has been proven in clinical trials to help sleep. So it's got melatonin in there, serotonin, magnesium. Yeah, 2 kiwis an hour before bed. So yeah, the trials over kind of 4 weeks showed improved sleep, getting to sleep and staying asleep and quality of sleep. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Never
there's
heard
great
that
fiber in
before.
them, which is great for your gut. So like, if you can tolerate them, because I love them, there's nothing bad about them. So there you go. Food, try that one.
That's amazing. And so obviously then, you're talking about finishing eating at about 7, but like a couple of kiwis isn't a meal. So you'd
No,
like,
no,
you
no,
could
that's
have a
fine.
meal finishing at
The,
7
the
and then have a
benefit
couple of
that you would
kiwis.
get from them far outweighs
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah, and they're not going to take
That's
an awful lot of.
amazing.
Yeah, and Sleepy Girl mocktail is another
Yes.
one. So if you've got for like a nice magnesium powder as well, but also I'm hesitating because you always need to be cautious of powders that have got lots of different things in them. But like nice magnesium powder with a tart cherry juice. Say that three
Say that
times.
5 times. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. With that, some ice, maybe a bit of mint, that kind of thing. Again, about an hour before bed. You could have that. I have that sometimes. Like I feel like I'm having a little cocktail, even though I don't drink. Have that
I
with
know. That sounds so, when you call it a sleepy girl mocktail, it just
Sleepy
sounds so
Girl
fun.
mocktail. I know, and you can even put like little umbrellas and stuff in there, and have that with your kiwis. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so there's loads of things we can do.
That's fun. I was wondering if that kiwi study was funded by the, I don't know, Kiwi Farmers Board or
Kiwi.
something, but that's fast. I've never heard that. That's really interesting. And I'm assuming we're talking about the fruit and not the nationality.
Whatever works.
Those are some really good ideas. Thank you. And I know, where do you stand on melatonin? I know, if you're taking sleeping pills at the moment and you're worried about being groggy and everything, like, is melatonin like a halfway kind of thing that you could potentially explore?
Yeah, it is. So with me, I always go to, yeah, but why?
Yeah. Okay.
Why is there not enough melatonin there naturally?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what can we do? But melatonin definitely is, less grog inducing.
Yeah.
in
I know
this.
if you're over 50, 55, you can just get it over the counter. But if you're under 55, you need to get a prescription for it. But
Yeah, and it's yeah. So I mean, and like that lady was saying that sleeping tablets don't give you an actual good quality of sleep; they just knock you out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And ever since I got my new Garmin, I know that if I have a sleeping tablet, I wake up feeling like I've slept, and then an hour later I feel like rubbish. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lie. It just stops you lying there staring at the ceiling, which is nice at the time, but yeah, it's not everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully that helps. That sounds like, I really hope that person gets some sleep soon, because I know
Yeah.
that when your sleep goes, it feels like it affects everything, right? So
Oh, it really does. I've
it's a
gone through
tough place
months
to be.
like that, and it's I remember lying there thinking of, have I actually forgotten how to sleep?
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
that dreading going to sleep can be so overwhelming too, I think. But what's important is that it does pass, like it always passes.
does.
It will pass.
does. It's too shall
But
pass.
yeah, which is annoying as hell to hear, but it will. Okay, last one. Let's
Yep.
talk about 3 p.m. snack slumps.
Yes.
Every day at about 3 p.m., I hit a massive wall, and everything I like is sugary and processed. Whatever's quick and in my desk drawer. I know it's not great, but I'm tired and I just want something easy and a bit of a pick me up. By dinner, I either feel bloated, cranky, or ashamed of my bad choices. We've all been there. What can I keep at my desk that will sustain me until dinner without feeling like I need to overhaul my entire life? Please don't tell me to chop carrot sticks. I need something that can be in my drawer or handbag.
Nuts.
Nuts.
Nuts. And even, if you're desperate to have that chocolate hit, get chocolate covered nuts.
Oh, yeah.
¿Por qué no las dos? Why not have both?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
Do you get extra points if you have dark chocolate on your nuts?
100%. Not 100% dark chocolate, but 100% extra points. Yeah. Yeah. So, you can do that. Nuts are always my go-to. Things like beef jerky, if for the meat eaters among us. You can get little packets, single serve packets, get a good quality one like Chief or something like that. So yeah, things like that will fill you up, won't get bloated, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Where do we stand on, I'm following this up now with my own personal question. Where do we stand on protein balls? That's what I carry in my handbag.
Like everything, it depends on quality.
Yeah, I get that.
Some of them,
Fair enough.
yeah, and marketing departments are very clever.
They are, aren't they? Yeah.
They are. But
And they make them such fun flavors too.
I know. But yeah, yes, some brands are better than others, like collagen bars, like protein bars. Be wary of anything that is labeled high protein. It's normally bullshit.
Right.
10 grams of protein in a protein bar is not high protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be higher than other bars, than a Mars bar,
Right.
but it's not.
I imagine there's no regulation on what you need to do to say high protein. And it's such a big field at the moment that people are getting into. Yeah, that's interesting. So, okay. So yeah. And those are great things, of course, because you can just bring them, on a Monday and put them in your desk drawer or just keep them in your desk drawer at work. And you've just got them there for when you want them. So you don't have to worry about are they fresh? Are they, within reason.
Yeah.
But
even going back to your point about, having something like some kind of protein or veggies before, if it's afternoon tea and there's cakes there, in the office, have a few of your nuts first.
yeah.
You're much less likely to binge. And then you can just enjoy it. Honestly, just enjoy it.
I know. It's someone's birthday. Relax. Have a nice time.
Yeah.
Except if you're in one of those offices where it's always somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
We've all worked in those, right? Where there's just like every week somebody's having cake. Like,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
that's the last question I have. That was really helpful. Thank you. And I think
so.
the overarching theme of all of that is go gently with yourself. Give your body what you need. Protein is good. Don't deprive yourself. Carbs can be good.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Anything else?
Yeah. Did we say hydrate?
Hydrate. Yeah. I like the salt thing too because I love salt, but also I think we've all, especially if you up your water quickly, you're just like weeing like a racehorse. So it's nice to kind of have so rock salt.
Yep.
Yep. Good. Okay.
And often when we're in states of stress as well, some of those signals get a bit messed up, hunger, fullness, thirst. So, even just like I said, 2 or 3 weeks of kind of making yourself drink, setting reminders on your phone, whatever way works for you, habit stacking, then, you'll get the thirst signal back.
Yeah. I love that. That's really good.
Calm down.
Yeah. Okay. And just before you finish up, I know that you've created something lovely for our members. Would you want to talk about that?
Yep. So I've created an ebook for all of your members, free for them. It's called Suddenly Single. And it talks about everything that we've spoken about today, plus loads more. There's some neuroscience in there as well around activities we can do to physically kind of calm ourselves down. Carolyn's familiar with my shooting the bunny stuff.
Oh man. Do you want to show everyone that super briefly?
I'll show them that.
I can't.
So, so the book basically kind of talks you through 3 different stages. So, but like we were saying earlier, like it's not linear, but we've got surviving. What does surviving look like? from a food perspective. How do we send those safety signals to our body? All of that kind of thing. And then we go to building. So once we're kind of through that surviving, go through building, and then go into kind of thriving. And then we're building what I call your revenge glow. So it's not a
Ah,
revenge body, it's a revenge glow. Like,
that's
it's
even better. I like that better.
I like it. It's just that kind of, fuck you, I'm thriving kind of
Yes.
thing,
Yeah.
despite everything.
And also, I don't care what you think, but I'm still thriving.
Yeah, and I'm glowing,
Yeah.
whether, whatever size I am.
Suck it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got recipes in there. It's got lots of practical stuff. It's got things about supplements.
So good.
Yeah, lots of stuff around just safety and building that resilience up again when you potentially emotionally and physically very depleted.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's so generous. I will share that in our membership portal in the content library. So if you're watching this and looking for it, pop into the content library and you will find it in there. And quickly show us the
Shoot the bunny. All right.
Shoot the bunny.
So what this does is it's called a dual tasking exercise. So it uses physical and mental resources, but it's actually really calming and safe for your nervous system. So
It's not coming for me so far.
and it's really hard to focus on any of your other stresses when you're doing this.
That's true. It does always make me laugh, I have to say.
It does. And laughing is good.
So just for anyone watching, Susie showed me this a while ago, and I've been trying to do it. And my son Connor has also done it, and he's amazing at it. He does it all the time, and it's just like bam, 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 and I'm still behind.
Yeah, it's so good. But it really does. So one of the things that we really want to do is to teach the brain that this new world that you're in is safe. So, and we've got a thing called neuroplasticity. So our brains have the capacity to change their wiring. So when you're working on a very heightened nervous system, the slightest thing like a noisy trolley banging beside you can be enough to set you off because you're so on edge. So your brain has forgotten what safety looks like. So this starts to remind us that sometimes, like I've got Brian here, my little brain. So sometimes our executive functioning in here in the front of our brain is taken over by our amygdala and by the back of our brain, which is that really basic response. We want to basically calm that down, take the thinking back to logic. And then, so this is what we're going to do. So put your hands like this. Carolyn, you've got to do it with
Yeah,
me.
okay. I've got to stop looking at my reflection and actually just look at my fingers.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
So we're going to shoot. This is our little gun, the bunny. And then we switch. Come away. There we go.
Yep.
And then we
back
switch
to you.
again.
That's a good idea. Okay. It's very challenging.
It is. I do this all the time. So people look at me and go, oh my God, you do it so quickly. I do it all the time. So what's really important here from a nervous system regulation perspective is when we mess up and we go, oh, that's wrong. What's happening right here is your brain has made a prediction error. Our brain is always trying to predict stuff, and it will assume our environment is not safe. It will assume a threat until we go, sorry, brain, you were wrong. Start again. And that way our brain starts to learn that actually I'm in control of what's happening here.
Oh, so clearly I need to persist with this one then. That's a really good skill to have.
So yeah, it helps to get you out of that fight or flight threat situation, basically.
That's so cool. I love that.
Do
And
it
I've got
while you're on
renewed
the
energy
loo
for it
as well.
now.
Do it
Sorry?
while you're on the loo. If you're sitting there on the loo, just getting away from people, do some breathing. And I say that really facetiously, but no, actually it works.
No, and it's good. I think, because as you said before, you alluded to habit stacking. And I think, a lot of the time, especially in this stage of life, there's so much going on and you're always bouncing from one thing to another. You don't necessarily have a lot of time, but everybody goes to the loo.
Yeah. And sometimes you go there to escape.
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it, whether it's kids or your boss or, just the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so quiet in there.
It's so
It's the one time, except for when you have toddlers, it's the
I was gonna
one time
say,
that
yeah.
you'll be left alone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can do all of that and then you're just going to come out renewed. People will be wondering what you're doing in the loo.
But we'll all know.
We'll know. We'll know.
Susie Allen, thank you so much for joining us today. That was extremely helpful. You are a font of knowledge.
Oh, that's all right. And if anybody wants any extra support, obviously
Where can
I
they find you?
available. They can find me on Instagram at your_vitality_nutrition or yourvitalitynutrition.com.au. I'm all over socials. Susie Allen, just
You are.
you'll
And
find
you
me.
do great socials. So, yeah.
Right, that's
For
right.
nothing else, just check out Susie's socials because they're really fun. Thank you,
Beautiful.
my friend.
You're most welcome. Good luck, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.